everyone, Helen here. Welcome along to my podcast. If you haven't met me before, I live in Durham in the northeast of England, and this is just my place where I share all of the creative things that I love to do and a lot more besides. So sit back and relax, because today I'm going to chat to you all about my Wonderwool Wales experiences. I'm going to tell you who I met and what I saw and what I came away with, and just give you my sort of general feelings about this yarn festival. So if you watched last week's podcast, you would have heard me explain a little bit about what Wonderwool Wales is. It's the biggest yarn festival in Wales, and probably one of the biggest ones there is in the UK, I should think. I don't really know. There was certainly a lot on offer there. It was held in what I think are the huge sheds where livestock markets take place normally, and it covered a very large area, and it was absolutely filled for the weekend of Wonderwool with small businesses who have really anything to do with fleeces and yarn and any kind of yarn related things, really. Textiles, I suppose, as well. And so I don't know how many stalls there were. There must have been in the order of 200. So it's really a great opportunity to go along and just see things that you might only have seen online and actually pick them up and squish all the yarn and generally have a lovely time chatting to people who are very knowledgeable about yarn and all the things associated with it. So it's really an excellent thing to do if you are at all enthusiastic about yarn and yarn related things. And the idea of going to Wonderwool only came to me when lovely Anita from the Gaga Knits podcast, and if you haven't visited Anita before, please do so. She has a lovely podcast. She podcasts at the beginning of each month and shares all of the things that she knits, crochets and sews and more besides. Anyway, so she mentioned that she would be going to Wonderwool, and that just popped the idea into my head, and I thought, well, we've got a camper van now, so maybe we could go all that way. So Wonderwool Wales is down in the southern half of Wales. So that is quite a long journey from where I live in Durham. But I thought, well, we have a camper van, we don't have to get there all in one day or anything. So Phil, my husband, didn't take too much persuading. And so we made the plan, and I bought my ticket for the Sunday of Wonderwool, which Wonderwool's on Saturday and Sunday. I was quite glad I went on the Sunday because it wasn't really too crowded. All of the stall holders were saying that it had been really busy on the Saturday and not so much on the Sunday. So that was really nice to go on that day. So with great anticipation, finally the day came, and Phil dropped me off at the venue, which is in a place called Wales, at the Royal Welsh Showground, it's called. And he dropped me off there about 9:45, and the show started at 10, so 10 till 4 on the Sunday. And he went off and did a walk in the Brecon Beacons, although actually they've just been renamed. The Brecon Beacons have now got a Welsh name, which I haven't committed to memory yet. It's not as easy to say as Brecon Beacons. Anyway, so he went a little bit further south from where I was and had a lovely day walking up Penny Fan, and didn't get too wet. It was a bit of a kind of showery day. There were some very heavy showers. But he didn't get too wet, and he had a lovely day while I had a lovely day to myself. And I think the only thing that struck me on the day that I went was that I was going alone. And I've never been to a yarn festival without somebody by my side. And I did kind of miss that, because it is lovely to have a friend to go around with and to, you know, discuss the things that you're seeing together, and oh, I like this colour, and oh yeah, what about that one, doesn't that feel gorgeous? So it is nice to have that conversation with a friend. However, it was okay, and instead there were lots of lovely stall holders to chat to, and I also managed to meet up with some lovely people. And first and foremost, Anita, who would put the idea in my head in the first place. So it was really, really lovely. Because I told her that I was going, we did arrange to meet up, and we met up at lunchtime and sat around a table with some other lovely people. So I also met Anne, who has the No Excuses Knitting podcast. So it was really lovely to meet her. And there were other friendly people at the table whose names I can't remember. And yeah, it was so nice to be in person with people who I've only ever seen on YouTube. So it's a bit like, it's easy to feel a little bit starstruck, because it's like you've been watching people on television and then you're meeting them in person. It's so nice. And Anita had made a whole batch of Welsh cakes, so she was busy sharing those around, so that was really nice. And she very kindly donated some to me to give to Phil when he came to pick me up, so that was really nice. I also sat with Anita and her friend. I can't remember your friend's name. I sat with them anyway later on in the day, because at Wonderwool a couple of times a day they have a sort of informal fashion show which they call the Sheep Walk, and some of the stall holders give some of their items for people to model and come onto the stage and show, just show what fantastic work there is to be seen at the show. So that was really quite fun to watch that as well. But I was also really excited to meet Ange from the Yarn and Yarns podcast. So I've followed her for quite a while now, and it was so lovely to chat with her and spend a little bit of time with her. So that was lovely. And I was also really excited to actually meet one of my lovely viewers, somebody who regularly comments, and so I've got to know her a little bit just through her comments, and that's Angela. And yes, it was so nice to put a face to a name. And Angela was actually at the show supporting her husband, who had one of the stalls. He dyes yarn and is Attic Spin Dye, is the name of his company. And so it was just really lovely to chat to her. And so hello Angela, and it was so nice to meet you. And yeah, who else? I hope I'm not missing anybody out. Yeah, well, I was also really excited and definitely a little bit starstruck to meet Katie Green of the Green Bean podcast. Yes, I mean, she's a much bigger channel than mine and Anita's and Anne's, who I'd met. And I just felt I quite felt a little bit shy going to speak to her, really, but she is really lovely, and we had a nice chat about this and that. I went to speak to her quite early on when it wasn't busy, because I knew that her stall would actually be quite busy. So so that was so nice, and everybody was friendly. Everybody was willing to stop for a chat. All of the stall holders who were quite happy to talk about what they had for sale. So yeah, wow. So I'm sure you would like to have a little look around Wonderwool to see what kind of things caught my eye. So I'm going to take you on just a little bit of a tour of some of the stalls that I took videos and photo of. One of the things I really loved about Wonderwool is that there were so many different sheep there with whichever business, maybe specialised in fleeces and making yarn from particular breeds of sheep. It was really great to have a really close look at these different breeds. I tried to make note of the names of these different breeds, and I've made a little video to show you some of the lovely sheep that I saw. I hope I've got the names right. If you see any mistakes, please do let me know. And one of the sheep, I just couldn't remember what it was called at all. So maybe you know and you can tell me. Anyway, so let's have a look at some of these gorgeous sheep. Aren't they lovely? I love them all, but I think I do particularly love that kind of fleece that has little ringlets or curls in it. It's just so gorgeous. I just want to be able to touch it. Yeah, anyway, so I hope you enjoyed seeing the sheep. I'm sure you're probably wondering whether I bought anything, and if so, what did I buy? Well, of course, I couldn't go all that way and go around all those stalls and not be tempted by anything at all. I didn't actually have anything in mind that I wanted to buy, and I didn't have any particular projects in mind. So I definitely didn't want to go overboard and coming back with masses of yarn, which I didn't do. But one of the useful things about having all of those small businesses there with all of their things is that you can then go away and buy things online, and you know what it's like because you've seen it and felt it, seen the kind of colour palettes and things that appeal to you. So it was useful from that aspect. I didn't feel the need to come away with lots of things. However, I did, of course, buy a few things, and so I'm going to show you some of those now. And I think my first purchase of the day I bought while I was busy chatting to Angela on the Attic Spin Dye stall, and the yarn that attracted my attention was this sock yarn. I haven't actually knitted with a zebra yarn before, and this one is called Funky Zebra. It just leapt out at me. It's sock yarn, and I am going to knit socks for somebody who I know will really appreciate these bright colours. I love the little stitch marker as well, the little zebra stitch marker. And actually, I was really surprised when I opened my bag later and I found a smaller bag with some extra little treats in it. So thank you very much for those. That was really lovely. An extra little bit of yarn and one or two little treats in there. So that was lovely. So that's from Attic Spin Dye. And I could have bought all sorts of things from there, but I was trying to be a bit restrained. So I look forward to showing you what this is going to look like when I've made it into socks. So that's that. Oops, I've just knocked something on the floor. Oh dear. So then I bought some yarn from John Arvin Textiles. I do absolutely love their yarn. I don't often buy it. It is quite expensive. I do consider it a treat. But yeah, I can never resist. The colours are just gorgeous. So I bought this set of, well, it wasn't a set actually. You could pick, it was like a pick and mix, pick the colours that you wanted. But they were doing, if you bought 6, it was cheaper than buying them individually. So of course I chose 6 colours. And yeah, this is in their Knit by Numbers series. I cannot remember what kind of yarn it's from, what kind of fleece it's from, but they are lovely. I love the colours that I've chosen there, and they will be used actually very. I know it's expensive yarn, but they'll probably be used for making clothes for knitted toys or for the actual toys themselves, because I have found that I rather like the toys to have posh yarn used for their clothes, and it's only in small amounts, you see, so I can kind of get the appreciation of the good quality yarn without having to spend a fortune, you know, like if I was going to knit myself a jumper or something. So really, really pleased with those. And I also bought on another store which was selling Angora yarn. I bought 2 little balls, 50 grams, and then a much smaller one. Can't remember how much was in that one. Yeah, anyway, so just a very little one there. And it's absolutely beautifully on. I've had this before. It's very expensive. And again, that will just be used for special little gifts, little toys that I make, and which are really lovely, made from Angora yarn. So that's it. So and that's all of the yarn that I bought. And let's just put them all down there. Then I came across a stall which was selling mostly, well, it was kind of, there was a few little antiques on it as well, but they were mostly hand stitched, all sorts of lovely things. A stall called Clem's Daughter. You will also hopefully already have seen some of the things that were on the stall there, and I couldn't resist buying a couple of things from that stall. So one of the things I bought was this beautiful little hand-stitched cottage with a little window in it, and it came with its own little light. So basically it's a little tea light holder, but not for like a real flame, just for an LED one. And I just thought that was gorgeous. There was a little row of cottages, and it was quite hard to choose which one, but this has got a little, I love the little bit of embroidery on there with the flowers, and yeah, lovely. So that's that little cottage. And then I really loved these, I don't really know what you would call this. It's kind of a little, I don't know, a little pocketbook or something. But it's all made from antique fabrics, so old quilts she's turned into all sorts of things. And this just really appealed me. It says Sweet Memories there, and it actually comes with a few little bits and bobs that you can use. Ephemera, the word is. And I don't know why it appealed to me so much. It just really does. I think I could kind of incorporate that into a journal of some sort, and it's definitely something, it gives me the idea that, of something I could make myself as well. But yes, absolutely lovely. I just fell in love with that. It's funny, isn't it? Sometimes the things you fall in love with. Right, I think I'm nearly done. I did buy a few things from Katie Green's stall, and I bought a couple of stampers. One of them is a stamper that you can put on a tag when you're giving somebody a handmade gift, and a little toadstool as well, which I'll use in my bullet journal, things like that. Both are illustrations done by Katie Green and turned into stampers. This lovely little nature notes book. I do carry a little notebook of this size in the little green bag that I always take out with me on my walks. I call it my explorer bag. And so I have a notebook in there, but the one that's in there at the moment is nearly full, and I sometimes just sit on a bench and write things. I write little bits of poetry, or I draw things and things. So that's really lovely. I'm very pleased with that little notebook. And I bought a couple of packs of stickers, foxes and leaves and toadstools, which I'll use in my bullet journal. And I bought this lovely note card as well. I don't know if I'll use it as a note card. I might just put it up as a lovely picture. So I'm really pleased with that. And I think one final thing I bought, but this was something which my mum asked me to buy. And it is a book all about the Blythe Tall Ships, or William's Gansey project. And if you don't know, Gansey is a style of knitting that is traditionally used for making jumpers for sailors. And those patterns are created in relief just through different combinations of knit and purl stitches. And this is a very interesting project, which I'm not going to tell you about right now, but it's to do with tall ships and a man called Williams, who actually discovered the Antarctic and who got no recognition for it. So a tall ship was named after him. And then that tall ship project was asking if there was any chance that people could knit some Gansey jumpers for the people on the ships. And it all became a very big project run by two lovely ladies. And I met one of the ladies. I met the lady who actually wrote this book. She was at Wonderwool. And I'm sure that when my mum's read this, I think I might be asking her if I can read all about it, because it's a lovely book, very nicely filled with photos and things. So that'll be going to my mum. And I think I bought one other thing, which is a gift for somebody, so I'm not going to show you that at the moment. So yeah, there we go, all of my purchases. So thank goodness I've been chatting on for ages. I think I better round things off now. So I think you can probably tell I really did have a wonderful time at Wonderwool Wales. I'd only ever been to one other yarn festival, which is called Yarndale in Skipton in Yorkshire. So while I was there at the Wonderwool Wales, I was comparing the two. And one of the things I loved about Wonderwool is that it is quite spread out, and that the spaces between the stalls is quite big. It's much bigger than Yarndale. Yarndale can become very, very crowded. I mean, I love it. I love going to Yarndale, don't get me wrong. But I loved the spaciousness of Wonderwool, and especially as for the last, since 2020, I haven't been used to being in crowded places. It was actually a great place to go for a big show like that, where you didn't feel kind of hemmed in by crowds of people. And so I really like that. I like the location. There was just a very friendly atmosphere, I have to say. It was lovely. There was a great variety of stalls, and I easily filled the 6 hours that I was there, because I was there when it opened and I was leaving as it was closing, and there were plenty of places to sit and rest as well. I think probably the only thing is that there were very, very long queues for the coffee and tea, drinks. I think they probably could do with maybe a few more outlets, or people who serve you a bit more speedily. So there was always queues for the drinks. There were a few food stalls, and I gather that, they do lovely food. I didn't quite find food that I wanted. It's kind of light snack type of things, but maybe I just didn't look properly. But that's very minor criticism. It is really, if you can get to Wonderwool Wales sometime, then I really highly recommend it. It's just, I know that I'll be going back, if only to go and meet up with my new friends, and I will definitely want to go back there. And of course, it's a lovely area as well around it. Wales is a great place to go and visit. So yeah, and in my next podcast, I will actually be showing you what else we did while we were away in the camper van. But I just thought Wonderwool merited a podcast of its own, and I hope you've enjoyed experiencing a bit of it with me. So I think I'm going to say goodbye now, and I'll be back with you very soon. Okay, take care of yourself. Keep nice and busy. Okay then, bye.